Yeah, you need an initial hole. I don't care if my pants get wet. Where's the lid?
Welcome in to Keep It About Ball, bitch.
Just a splash.
Shitbag lizard people.
Bro's QB2 is Aiden O'Connell.
Fuck Sean Payton.
Actually, when you add up the pick value, when you crunch numbers, who the fuck's Jennifer?
Alright guys, welcome to Keep It About Ball. I'm Zach, popping in to do a little solo pod. This is going to be the first installment in what I would guess you call like a little mini-series. Just some NFL vets and their, fantasy value this offseason. Also want to get into some programming notes with you, but we'll save that for after we get into our first vet, which we will go ahead and do right now. And that first vet is George Kittle. George Kittle, as we all know, is currently recovering from an Achilles injury. He wants to be back by the end of November to help the 49ers in what will be, I would imagine, some kind of a playoff push of sorts, whether they already locked it up and just riding it out and locking it up or whatever, or they're fighting for a spot similar to this year. We will see. As far as the 49ers, on the field product goes, I think them getting him back, at that time next year, probably great for them, probably great for the team in a whole bunch of ways. But is it great for fantasy? Is that great for us? I don't think so. It feels like the 49ers always have a lot of what ifs or, oh wait, don't forget that going on in their receiving room. And there's going to be production in a Kyle Shanahan offense. You're not worried about that. But where's it going? Sometimes it just kind of gets spread out and, it doesn't really go to just one guy. And you don't really get a great fantasy option. You get a bunch of low-end flex dudes out of it. Or you get one dude that gets hyper-targeted. Okay, well, who's getting hyper-targeted? We've seen Juwan Jennings do that. We've seen Brandon Ayuk do that. Even Ricky Pearsall. Of course, George Kittle is the most frequent one of all those people who does that. But it's not like he's the only one. And it's not like it has to be him. So I guess what we come to is when he comes back next year, can he do that again? What he did coming off an injury late in the year and basically being tight end one for that stretch. He's going to turn 33 early into the 2026 season. He suffered a hamstring injury in week 2, which caused him to miss a bunch of time. So that's concerning. Coming off that injury, first game back, he even said after the game, I was pretty much just a decoy, wasn't really doing a lot out there. He had 2 targets, didn't catch anything. They ramped him up the next 2 games in week 8 and 9, where he had a combined 9 targets for 8 catches. And after that, that's when he kind of goes on his tear and is, I'm pretty clearly the number 1 tight end for that stretch. Week 10, he catches 9 of 9 targets. Week 11, 6 of 6. So just a pretty efficient stretch there in those 4 games coming off that injury, minus that first game where he wasn't really even actually playing. And then after that, for the rest of the season, the efficiency as far as targets to catches goes down a little bit, but it wasn't really a sustainable number when you think about it, and for the long term anyways. And it kind of worked out because his yards per catch were going up in this time, so it kind of balanced out. And he still remained efficient. It's not like he just fell off and was catching 2 of 7 targets. He was still 6 of 7, 7 of 9 type deal. So still pretty good. I think he finished with the year in his last 5 games. Only one of those he had less than 7 targets. So obviously pre-Achilles injury in the playoffs, the NFL playoffs, we were getting what we wanted from George Kittle when he was on the field. That wasn't really a worry. He was getting the targets. He was the guy. I don't know if he can do what he did this past December again and this coming December. We've seen some older guys come off these injuries, and they just don't move the same. And the way he plays, I feel like it's maybe a tougher position to come back from an injury like that. And the way he plays the position as well maybe makes it a bit harder too. He blocks, he hits, and he likes to play hard. I don't see him coming back and not wanting to do those things. That's what he enjoys doing. And that's great for the team. That's awesome for the team. But does it take from his ability, in his cuts and, running routes, after, like the first 4 or 5 plays of pushing up against an NFL D lineman? Is he still going to want to be, as hard to tackle as he was, or is he going to, kind of be like, hey, I'm getting wrapped up here, and just kind of go to the ground instead of, fighting for that extra yard, so that he doesn't risk getting hurt again so late in the year and miss the entire playoffs again, because that's not what he wants. He wants to play for the glory, he wants to be there in the playoffs, playing the big games. That's what Kittle's all about. So it's tough to say. And you also have to consider that if he does come back, is he going to be the de facto tight end starter? Jake Tonjes was very serviceable as a tight end, as a pass catcher this season when Kittle was out, and even a little bit when Kittle was in. I mean, he didn't completely go away, if I'm not mistaken. I might have to verify that real quick. But, he gets a whole offseason working with the first team, gets, the majority of the season, regular season with the first team, really. Are they just going to throw him back to the bench and throw Kittle out there 100% of the plays, 90% of the plays, 90% snap count? I don't think so. I think even when he does come back, let's say it is in, November, like he's wanting, let's say like halfway through, I mean, you're already looking at like week, 10, 11, and then if he's got a couple ramp up, even like 2 to 3 ramp up weeks, by then you're looking at 14, and you're hoping he's good for the playoffs. And then, like I said earlier, they might, bring in another receiver. Who knows if the offense could be completely different by then, and he could just come in and be like icing on the cake, another piece, something that they just scheme up like certain looks for, and while the rest of the offense kind of functions in its own way, and then you come in and you just add this as a tool. I don't know. I think you get what I'm saying, but in Dynasty, as far as Dynasty fantasy goes, I just can't, man. I can't. I don't think I'd want him to be more than my tight end 3 going into next season. And I don't even think I'd want him to be that. I would only probably... Okay, well... So, I think if you haven't sold him, it depends on if you're contending or not. If you're a contending team, I still don't even want to say buy him unless your roster is like filled out and you need some tight end depth, and like, hey, unless, I guess picks are locked up at this point, so even if you're going to trade a future, wouldn't trade it or this season unless like, hey, this is like the last pick in the draft, the second to last pick. Like you are a championship level team, and maybe you just need a backup tight end, or you have a backup tight end, but he's not that great, and you would like to have, Kittle stashed for maybe he comes back in the playoffs, maybe he shows some upside, and you do that. But I think what's really going to be best for you is, if you're a contender, just hanging on to him and probably riding it out. Whatever happens. I don't really think there would be much point in selling him. But for the non-contenders, I don't think you should sell him right now, because A, he's on IR, he's a free stash, he's not taking up a roster spot, there's no reason to go rushing to sell him. And B, his value's not... It's not going to get any lower from here, I don't think, unless he decides to retire, which obviously isn't the case. So I think what you probably do, unless you get an offer that is just like, hey, so we draft 4 rounds, so I would be like, hey, if I were in this situation in a 4-round draft, I'd be like, if someone offered me a second right now, I'm all over that, jumping on it. I don't care where it is in the second round, all over it. Even if it's the 212, I'm taking it every time. An early third, if you feel comfortable with that, if you've got a guy that like you really want to go draft in that range, okay, that's fair. But I think otherwise, you probably just hang on, because whatever you get, like late in the third or maybe in a 4th round, I mean, if you know ball, you're probably gonna find something, but you're banking on even more what if than what you're already dealing with George Kittle than you would be already. I think there you could just hang on to him, and hopefully he comes back and he balls out, and you can go sell him to one of those, top 2, 3, 4 teams trying to win a championship next season when he's balling out, and maybe get, a late second or an early third, or maybe a nice backup, young running back that you've had your eye on, a nice little handcuff piece that you're really excited about. Maybe you go get that for him. Maybe that plus a late pick would be, I think, a good takeaway there. And maybe you get the second. I think other than that, you're kind of stuck hoping to package him up with just something else and some kind of other offer, whatever that may be. But I don't think you're never gonna get what you really want to get for George Kittle at this point. It's not gonna happen. Let me see if I had anything else on here as far as Dynasty goes. I think that was it. And like I said earlier, they're probably gonna add another pass catcher. That offense could just be so different. But yeah, I think that's all I had as far as Dynasty goes. Now, as far as redraft, definitely still not drafting him. But if he doesn't get drafted off a name value, which he will in some leagues, or some guy's going to buy into the offseason Twitter hype that he sees coming out of George Kittle's camp about, oh, my season, I'm coming back, blah, 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 whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. Some people are going to draft based off that. But if he's still there when you finish your draft, if you have IR spots, he needs to instantly be added and put into there, just because, I mean, the upside's there. There's still that kind of potential for it. Maybe not as high of a potential as we, like, or maybe as there was last year, but there could still be something be there. And, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he does come back, November, and maybe he takes another week off like last time, 2 weeks off like last time, and just dominates for the rest of the season and wins you a fantasy championship. That's within the possibility. I'm not banking on that. That's not the way I play. I think that's too risky. There's taking risk, but I think it's too risky. But as far as redraft, definitely don't draft him to be even your backup tight end. He should strictly be a stash for pretty much all the reasons I've said here today. So that will do it for George Kittle. Before I tag out for the day, I want to let you guys know I am going to be going through and doing daily scores again. Hopefully starting later this week or this weekend. Mostly the same as it was, I guess, like 2 years ago now. Wow, that's crazy. I'll go through the scores, from the night before, early in the morning, and get it published hopefully by 6 in the morning, so it's available by 6 in the morning. That's when I like to have it available, when I'm doing that. So it's available early in the day. You can start your day. You can know all the scores. You don't got to sit through the bullshit on ESPN and watch 50 bullshit segments to find the score for your team, or you don't got to go look up, 7 different scores for different leagues and go check around this and that. You just pop on the podcast, play it, and let it go. I'm also going to throw some other stuff in there at the end of the episodes, like Mondays. Will be pick a card. We'll do that every Monday. We'll get a new pick a card person for the week. Kind of look into their career, do a little deep dive on some dudes. Wednesday we'll review the fantasy market. Just kind of look, pretty standard review of fantasy markets. If you're listening to this, you probably listen to other fantasy content. It's like that, just your risers, your fallers, looking at the movement, reacting to it, kind of shit. And then Fridays, I would like to turn it into something a little bit different. So I've always enjoyed listening to sports on the radio, but especially high school sports. Something about the locality and the realness gives me, and not just that, the locality, the realness, and the audio quality, I would say, gives me a very strong sense of nostalgia to, you know, when I was a kid. Even like, I'm talking like before high school. I'm talking about when I was a little kid and cool shit was on the radio. And I just like that. And I really enjoy that. And, you know, high school sports are fucking cool. So I'm going to try to cover some scores across high school sports and try and get that going across my home state of Kansas. Of course, I'm not going to do nationally. That would be way too much. This one's definitely going to be a work in progress, so it'll probably take a few Fridays before I really get into the flow of it. Take a few segments for sure. But I'm hoping that, you know, by the time football season comes around, it's going pretty good. Gosh, and just now realized I should probably do the high school scores Saturday so that I can do football scores Saturdays, not Fridays. That won't really work, I guess. So we might actually switch that to Saturdays. I don't know. It's like I said, it's a work in progress, this segment, but I would like to get into that. I think it would be really cool. I think it would be really cool if we could go like cover a game sometime, you know, maybe like an important game, maybe like a league championship or something this year. I think that would be pretty fun. Maybe do like report on it. I think that would be pretty cool. But that much is down the line. The rest was not. I think the fellows and I getting back into a good routine, recording it, you know, at least every other week when our schedules, you know, kind of coincide there. So there'll still be some episodes with the fellas, no doubt. They're not going anywhere. Not if I have anything to say about it anyways. And bless you, Bronny. Sorry, my bunny was sneezing. And one last thing before I go. We do have some affiliate links in the show notes going forward. I want to be clear. These companies are not companies that we've sought as partners. They were offered to us via an app that connects, podcasters, content creators, whoever, with companies looking to promote a product and sell. And so then we apply to, you know, use our discount code with them. So we're not, you know, overly familiar with these websites. Actually, I don't think at this point in time the guys are even aware that we have affiliates, so they're probably not familiar with any of them. But not all of the sites, but some of the sites, you know, I have checked out, and a few of them have been kind of pricey. And I'm going to go ahead and speak on behalf of the other guys and for myself and say we do not expect anyone to go buy anything at all, really, but especially outside of their means. And I would say we'd actually probably really prefer that you don't do that. But there are potentially some cool deals here available. Like I said, or I did not say it. I've ordered from Bare Knuckles, which is a work glove company. And this is not a sales pitch. They were reasonably priced. And I work in a lumber yard. So in my line of work, I'm always using gloves, like thick work gloves like that. So it seemed like a practical buy for me. I thought, cool, I'll check it out, test some of this reputability, and be able to, you know, maybe put a bit of a word behind what it is, you know, we might be partnering ourselves with here. So I have got those ordered, waiting on those, so I will report on that and let you guys know about the quality on something like that. We also have, there's a website called Old Glory we're partnered with. It's a sports and music memorabilia, gear, shirts website. The disclaimer on this one, it's all seems to be legit gear, but it is mostly fan-made, and some of it's out of date a little bit. But there are also some really fucking cool shirts on there. And I've got my cart set up, but then I got distracted and did not order. I need to go through and hit order once I get done with this, which I will do. So what I got in the cart is this white Boston tee with like it kind of looks like almost like a GTA 5 rendition of like a sort of like, I think it's the Boston Harbor. Not quite that, but similar. And the other one is like the Red Sox blue the shirt's Red Sox blue, and it's got like the overblown Red Sox B like across the torso, and the shit looks tough as fuck, I'm not gonna lie. And the Atlanta Braves, I was looking at their stuff too. I'm not a fan, but they were just right there at the top of the list, so I was looking at it. Have the similar style, but they're it goes so fucking hard on that shirt. That shirt is so fucking tough. That Atlanta Braves one, I might buy one, throw that in the cart actually, just to have it, because the shirt is fucking it's really cool. So I am gonna order all that, and we'll check it out. And I mean, hopefully it all shows up as it looks online and everything's great, and I can come back here and tell you guys, hey, go buy a shirt from this website. You know, there's some cool options. Or not even a shirt, they got like like license plate holders or shit like that. So you can check that out. And there's a bunch of other codes down there for different websites. Some stuff, you know, is gonna be not for the boys, but maybe your girlfriend needs a gift. Go get her a gift or something, or get yourself a gift. But of course, only if you can. Because all purchases you make with the code ZBR12, make sure you use ZBR12, otherwise you won't save any money and we won't get any money. Use ZBR12 and you'll get a discount on it. You'll support the show, and if you can, that would be sweet. The discount amount will be listed with all of the codes in the show notes. But again, you know, don't go forcing anything. You don't gotta buy anything if you don't want to. But if you do, that would be sweet. But that'll be it. I'll see you guys soon with some scores and our next bet in the series, which is Pfizer fuckboy Travis Kelce. That's gonna be a fun one for me. Don't forget, our pick a card player of the week is Eric Howard, nose tackle for the New York Giants in the early 90s. If you want to go see his most legendary play, go check out the 1990 NFC Championship game on YouTube. The play comes at the end of the game, but being commentated by Pat Summerall and John Madden, as you might have heard me say in the last episode, you might not feel that need to fast forward to the end to find the play. But I'll leave that there, and I will leave that link in the show notes to that game as well, up above all the codes. So that does it for me today. You guys take care, and remember, nothing changes if nothing changes. See ya.
Shitbag lizard people.
Bro's QB2 is Aiden O'Connell.
Fuck Sean Payton.
Actually, when you add up the pick value, when you crunch numbers, who the fuck's Jonathan?